What's the other question?
What's oh, wait a minute. This is the first time someone's ever asked me that. This is going in the teaser. This is going in the teaser. In today's podcast, season 5, and this is episode 6. I was introduced, Linda, to your art from a childhood friend, Nick Cambanis.
Mhm.
And I have to shout out all my schools. So there's Brookbanks, there's Donview, and there's Victoria Park High School. Shout out to all my friends from those schools. He posted your artwork on one of his stories, and that's what intrigued me to contact you. So Linda, welcome to Real Talk with Star Scorpio. How you doing today?
Good morning. I'm super. So excited to be here. Thank you.
So on Real Talk, we like to build a timeline, right? So let's start from the beginning. Where were you born and raised?
Well, I'm a Scarborough girl. Victoria Park in Shepherd, behind Johnny's Hamburgers, although we never ate there.
Whoa. You never ate at Johnny's?
No, my father worked for Olympia Home Bakery, so he supplied the bread for Esquire, which was down the street. So we only ate at Esquire. It was like a, I don't know, little Scarborough rivalry.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is where I'm going off topic right now because you just got me excited because we grew up in the same area. I'm Victoria Park in Ellesmere, and my parents are still there till to this day. And you're VP in Shepherd, but you know Johnny's is a staple of the area. And when you said you never ate there, I'm like, wow. But you know how you mentioned Esquire though.
Mm-hmm.
This is a place that I learned later in life had amazing souvlaki.
They did.
Yes, but recently I think they changed ownership or something, right?
They did. They were. It was an Armenian family.
Yes.
That ran it for many years, and they sold it. I mean, they've all retired now. But
Okay.
yeah, we're very close friends with them.
Oh my gosh, the history. You went to Wexford, right?
I did, and that was totally by accident.
Oh.
Yeah, I was in grade 8, and my teacher thought that I was dyslexic, so she had me do some testing. A lady came in to do, we did puzzles for 3 days. It was great. And at the end of it, she's like, Linda, your eye-hand coordination is off the charts. So do you like art? I'm like, okay, yeah. Do you want to go to Wexford? I'm like, okay, yeah. So I just fell into it by mistake, and it ended up being one of the greatest experiences of my life. It was Wexford was the art department. I don't remember eating or talking to anybody while I was at Wexford. I was in the art class all the time. I was so excited to go to school. The teachers were phenomenal. And I still talk to them. I'm still friends with them now.
Are you serious? That's amazing.
Yeah, about 5 or 6 of them. It's great. They weren't teachers that went to teachers college and then did a class in art. These were professional artists. So people who were, had careers in art. Almost was like an apprenticeship being at Wexford, having that guidance. It was great. And that was pretty much all the schooling that I had for art.
So that was my question. I wanted to know if you chose that school because when we were in Donview Junior High, you had your choices. But again, it was where you were situated. You had to go to certain schools and all that. But it was either like Wexford, Victoria Park, or Georges Henry. So I was going to ask you, because School of the Arts, I know some people that went there for that reason. And even my daughter and her friends were contemplating whether to go there because it's not, it's like for everything, like drama, art, like everything, right?
While I was there, I was in the musical theater program as well. The musical theater program is phenomenal. It was unbelievable. That is what built me up to this point now. I really haven't had any other education in art other than that. And the things that I learned they've stuck with me, 30 years later.
Okay. So, wow, that's amazing. So that's what I wanted to know too. So when you were a kid, did you know you can draw and paint? Were you, or not really? So it started at Wexford.
It started at Wexford. I mean, I always went everywhere with my pencil crayons. I was always really crafty.
Yeah.
I love drawing. I love painting. I love anything to do with the hands, weaving, knitting, embroidery, that sort of thing. But I mean, I never really thought about being an artist until I got to Wexford. And once they put that brush in my hand, I haven't put it. It was,
Wow.
it was magical. I mean, we
Yeah.
had to do everything in that school. Like you had to try a little bit of printmaking and life drawing and like design and all those things. But the painting really stuck with me.
Yeah. And did you have a group of friends that you can talk to and get ideas from and things like that that you still know today from Wexford? So you said
Back
the
then,
teachers.
oh, it was the teachers.
Wow.
I was really
Okay.
quiet back then. Like I didn't really. It was all about the artwork.
Hmm.
Um, I was just. I mean, and if you ask my teachers, are always like that quiet Greek girl in the corner.
Yeah.
They're doing work. Like they would give me the assignment on Monday, and I'd just be like, okay, and I'd go into the corner and finish it on Monday when it was due on like Friday.
Hmm.
Then do six other projects in between
Yeah.
while my friends were still working on the first thing that we had to work on. So I was just really motivated, really, really driven,
Hmm.
really, really in love with all the material and like all the information that they were giving me. So I would just like absorb it all and create something and hand it in and then do another one and then do another one and then do another one. Like, and that's how I worked for like 4 or 5 years at Wexford.
Wow. That's
It was,
amazing.
it was so even at that young age, I was selling stuff. Yeah, we had art shows. I would sell my paintings at the art shows.
Hmm.
It was good. But then it ended and I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
I didn't have the guidance at the time to say, you could do this or you could do this with your art. So I went to university. I went to U of T
Yeah.
for like
So that's what I
economics.
want. Yeah. So that's what I want to know, Tal. So post-secondary school,
Yeah,
after Wexford, it was U of
a
T.
disaster, a
Oh,
total disaster. Complete disaster. So here I had all these fine art skills, and then you throw me into an economics program,
mhm.
and I was miserable. I stayed there for 2 years, and after 2 years, I'm like,
You're
this
done.
is this is stupid. So I quit, and then again, I didn't know what to do with myself.
Wait,
So
so how long was the course? So first of all, what
yeah,
made you choose economics over anything else? Business
um,
management or accounting? And
I,
then,
I went to the guidance counselor. I'm like, okay, I here's my oil painting skills. I don't know what to do with it. I need to, earn a living at some point, right? Like that's the whole purpose of university.
right.
So she said, well, why don't you go into business to run an art gallery? So it was like, that's what I wanted to do. And I hated it because I didn't want to be in the business of running an art gallery. I wanted to paint.
Right.
Like I needed to be the art,
Hmm.
not run somebody else's art. So after 2 years, I'm like, okay, we're done with this. I went to Staples and I got some little business cards with my
Hmm.
name on them. I'm like,
Okay.
let me try mural painting because at
Yeah.
the time, faux finishing was really popular.
Hmm.
Um, so I went to the home show and I started handing out my business cards as a mural painter, trying to connect with painters and designers and just trying to get something going. And I met a furniture designer.
Yeah.
So he would build like custom units, like desks and that sort of thing. And he had a side business where he would do like armoires. So
Okay.
he would build the armoire, and I would go in and I'd paint flowers on it or make it look, like French country, like it's like some old antique piece of furniture.
Hmm.
And that really took off. I did that for about 5 years. I had one job at Bathurst and Highway 7
Yeah.
off of Go,
Hmm.
where the Princess Margaret homes are,
Okay.
like 10,000 square foot houses. I had
Yeah.
one job there and I went from one house to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, because like it was like a really tight knit community.
Hmm.
And like the neighbors would come and see what I was doing and they're like, oh, can you come to my house? And these houses were like ridiculous. Like they had hockey arenas in the basement,
Oh boy.
right? Like, and like as a Scarborough girl, like
Yeah.
going to places with like hockey arenas in the basement, like it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
But I became part of their families because I would be there for like a month. I would paint a mural in this room, paint a mural in that room. It was fantastic.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
but then
Yeah.
that came to a halt really quickly
Hmm.
because one of the armoires that I had painted,
Hmm.
like as I was painting it, like tipped over and landed on me, and I broke like 5 bones in my foot.
What?
And at that point, I'm like, maybe I should try something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe this is enough. It was hard. It was hard work. Like I was dangling from scaffolds, and like up painting ceilings. Like it was hard labor. And back then, like we didn't have the internet. So
Okay. Yeah.
right, like this is the 90s. So I mean, there was the internet, but I mean, if someone wanted a mural, I had to go to the library and look up what I was supposed to paint. Like I didn't have Google where you can look up on Pinterest,
Right.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if someone asked me for like, Jesus on a roller coaster, I had to look up all these things and and it was really time consuming.
Yeah.
So I got tired after,
Wow.
and
So,
so that stopped.
so in the 90s, so how old were
Yeah,
you at that time? When did this really take off where you were doing the murals?
I was 19. I was like
19.
19, maybe 20, maybe 20.
Yeah. So you started young. That
I
I
did.
see. I'm really impressed when people find their passion and they go towards it. And it seems like you had challenges, and there's probably more challenges too now, but you kind of weaved around it. It's like amazing. So after you broke the bones in your foot and you healed now, what now? What was the next thing?
Well, I got married, and
Mhm.
my husband was worked for Remax. He's a realtor.
Okay.
So I got my broker's license,
Oh my God. Okay.
and I sold real estate for like 15 years.
Oh my, are you serious?
I know. I hung out my brushes. I was like, once I'm done with something, I'm like, I'm done with it. And it
Yeah.
was just on to the next thing. And yeah, and that was like being. I was really shy. Like in school, like I was really quiet. And like being in real estate, you need to talk to people. You need to know how to talk to people. So that really brought me out of my shell, like
Okay.
selling and going to events, and it was good.
So, okay, so you totally stopped doing
I
your
told
painting, the murals. You went into real estate, you're saying. And now, when did you reinvent yourself? You know what I want to ask you to. First of all, your artwork is beautiful.
Thank
Like,
you.
yeah, after I got the reference from Nick, I
Yeah.
was scrolling through your page and just beautiful. So I want to know when you reinvented yourself, got back into it, and also your name, the Painting Greek. How did
Okay.
that come about? Let me know.
Um, because I was so quiet in school, I don't think anybody knew my name. I was just always that Greek girl in the corner.
Yeah.
Or it was, Linda, a couple of blah, blah, blah. Like no one could pronounce the last name.
Mhm.
And every place that I went to, I was always the only Greek girl. Like even now, when I go painting with my friends, like I'm the only one. So I'm always kind of known as that Greek.
Mhm.
And when I first started posting on Instagram, like we
Yeah.
didn't have access to music.
Yes.
Like when I first started, like I didn't have TikTok, I didn't have the reels, I didn't have all that stuff. I only had whatever was on my phone, and it was only Greek music. So all of my videos had Greek music. So just kind of came about that way.
And now, how did you get back into this art world?
Okay, so I'm still doing the real estate. I still sell.
You still
That's
do it? Oh man.
Instagram. Like that's what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Um, but I was selling. We were building. We were renovating. We were flipping. I was doing the staging. It was like it was one thing after the next, and then we hit a wall. Um, it was Father's Day, and we had gone out for lunch, and not realizing that we were kind of being followed, and come back home and realize that we had been broken into. Everything was gone. The whole back of the house was destroyed. They knew where to come in. They knew what to take. They knew it was traumatic. So insurance comes in. Insurance is like, okay, we're gonna renovate the back of your house. But my kids were little at the time. They were like, little one was like 3. So I'm like, we can't be here during this renovation. It's dangerous for them. So insurance is like, okay, we're gonna set you up in a hotel in Markham. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go to a hotel in Markham. Um, I booked 3 tickets to Greece with me and my kids. My husband was going to stay home and kind of oversee the renovation, and we needed to get out of this space. So in preparation for the trip, I was in the basement. I went to go get a luggage from like one of the shelves. This like stainless steel steamer from the shelf above rolls off, lands on my head. So I'm in the emergency room waiting to get my head stable. And doctor comes in with a staple gun and this big machine and a nurse and 2 other doctors. So the 4 of them are taking my blood pressure from this arm, then this arm, then this arm, then this arm. And they're all like, hmm. And I'm like, what? So something was wrong. They looked at me and they said, okay, Linda, we don't understand based on these numbers, how you are alive right now. So I'm like, oh, okay. So we did some testing. It turns out I have a heart condition that's really quite dangerous that I didn't know about. I needed surgery. So I'm getting wheeled into surgery, and I'm injected with all this like radioactive dye because they need to see like, you know, where all the twisted arteries and all that sort of thing are. So, and then I have this like epiphany just as I'm about to pass out that the jackasses that broke into my house saved my life. Because had that event not occurred, I would have not gone to Greece. I would have not gotten the luggage. The thing wouldn't have cracked my head. And I wouldn't be in the situation. I probably would have had an aneurysm at some point, not knowing what was going on. And in that moment, I'm like, I need to follow my heart. I need to paint again. It had been like 15 years since I picked up a brush. So coming out of that, I recovered, and I started with an acrylic painting class, and I have not put the brush down since. It's been 5. I started with the acrylic painting class. I started a class for portraiture because I wanted to learn how to paint portraits. So I did that for about 6 months. And after about 6 months, I started selling paintings. I sold paintings to the models that I was painting. I sold paintings to people when I was painting plein air. So I started the Instagram page, and it's just been growing ever since. I still, to this day, it's been 5 years, I still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm kind of just rolling with it as it goes along. Because you know how Instagram is, like, it changes.
Yeah.
Every day. So yeah, and that's kind of where we are right now. And that's how I got back into it. It took that life-changing moment, that like this, to kind of make me realize where I want to be in the world and what I want to give to the world. Yeah. I always had something in me that needed to come out, that I needed to give, and this is it.
Thanks for sharing that. Wow. How did that feel, sharing that? Because again, I'm hearing things when I do my podcast, and it feels like it's healing for my guests to share stories like that. I don't know if you shared it before to anyone else in depth like this.
It's not something I talk about. But it was a life-altering moment.
Yeah.
And I always believe that things happen for a reason. And that moment happened for a reason. Like, we got broken into, so that for that reason, it saved my life.
Wow. I'm so glad you're okay. Wow.
Yeah, I'm fine now. But it changed everything. It changed the way I see. It changed the way I think. It changed the way, it changed everything. I appreciate everything now, every moment.
Yeah, those times do that to you. Oh my gosh. And you see the world in a different light, in reference to everything, kids, family, just your day to day, and appreciation for everything, husband. Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel that you perfected the art of the post, pun intended. And the music you have on one of the posts, first of all, I like your music choice. And I understand now because we come from the same era.
Yeah.
But you had a post with, "We're going to walk down to Electric Avenue" with Eddie Grant. So I feel that you perfected the art of the post. I love your post. And I wanted to know, did you get started with IG, Facebook when they first came about? Because I remember I was one of my friends on Facebook back in the days. And I was telling people about it. They didn't know about it. So I wanted, because I was doing stand-up comedy and I was trying to market myself. But I want to know with you, did you jump on these things when they came about? So Twitter, IG, TikTok.
No. So I only had my personal Facebook with myself and my kids and my family. My Instagram started when I started painting, which was 5 years ago. Okay. And I tried everything. I tried Twitter. Twitter was gross. Like, I just didn't like that was yeah. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Yeah. But Instagram, Facebook, and then now TikTok, which is a whole other platform. But I'm still learning. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just kind of go with the flow and try new things. And sometimes it works and sometimes it flops. So you just do it again.
I like your post though. You're good at it. Yeah, you're very good. Yeah.
it's hard because, I've got my kids, I've got my family. So like I have these crazy ideas,
Mhm.
but then by the time I go to implement them, like 16 other things come like in front of me that I have to deal with. So
Yeah.
it doesn't all come out like, um, but there's more. It
Yeah.
excites me. I find it exciting. Like I find it thrilling, the whole, posting and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Artwork in different creative ways. It's really fun.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And because when I do this podcast, I get
Yeah.
excited. Like even after I interview you and I have the finished product, I like doing the teasers and doing all these
Yeah.
things. And like I can't wait to do this for our interview here.
And I do that with my paintings too. Like, you
Yeah.
probably I'm sure
Yeah,
you've
I
seen.
see. So I want to know too from you. I see you do a lot of painting outside. So do you
Oh,
enjoy painting the landscapes and old, even historical buildings and things like that?
so when I first started, it was portraiture. I started
Okay.
with portraiture, and then I moved into go-karts and go-karting.
Yeah, I seen those. Yeah.
Yeah, because my kids are go-kart racers.
Mhm,
So like it was during COVID. I would take them to the track, they
mhm.
would race, and I had my art box and I would paint. So we all came home oily. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. Everything
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah.
And plein air started when COVID started, when everything shut down and we couldn't go anywhere. And I
Mhm.
lost and my friends had lost their minds.
Wow.
So we're like, you know what, let's go painting. Let's go painting outside because no one can stop us from doing that.
Yeah.
So, and I love plein air painting because it's an adventure. I never know what's going to happen. It could go amazing. It could be a disaster. I never know who's going to walk up to me and start talking to me. Like sometimes it's good and sometimes it's like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
But there's a story behind every painting,
Yes.
which I love.
Hmm.
And the plein air is all about there's no planning. Like with the commission pieces, there's, the discussion of the size and the this and like the drawing and the like, it's all these like layered events. Whereas plein air, it's like you pack up your stuff, you pack up your lunch, and you never know what you're going to find.
Yeah.
And it's all
Amazing.
about finding the spot, painting the moment.
Hmm.
It's, I love that.
Yeah. And I seen a lot of your posts, um, to do with historical buildings outside and things like that. And one thing I got to ask, you're in the Markham area, you said. So Unionville, I see Unionville in a lot of your posts. My wife and I started writing down, the Unionville where all the stores are,
Yeah.
in the restaurants and Il Postino's. We eat at a nice Italian restaurant there all the time. We ride there every summer now. And I just like that area in Unionville. But I've seen a lot of your posts from there.
Yeah, that's where we are. And
Yeah.
and I always wanted to live here. Like it's a great place to raise family. It's great.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
Okay. You just touched on family. So your
Okay.
kids, what about your kids? So kids too?
Yeah. Two boys.
Okay. So what do they think of mom and the painting? And are they dabbling in it too as well?
They are.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They are. I didn't expect it. They are. They're diehard go-kart racers. Like anything with wheels. They're boys. They love racing. We do go-karting like 6 months, 7 months out of the year.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. It's hard, but they love it, and it's something that we do as a family.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I've noted, like I've taken Nico plein air painting with me, like my little one. He
Hmm.
has his own little shot box. My older son loves just creating things with like sculptures,
Yeah.
like popsicle sticks that he'll make until he'll carve it into like a knife that opens, or like he'll make things that move. Like it's really cool watching them create things as well.
Yeah. And then do you encourage them too? Because you touched on one thing too. Sometimes we have those teachers in school that really want you to excel. So I was athletic, and I remember one of my gym teachers pushing me to, because I could jump like high, like I'm only 5'7", but I could dunk. I used to spike. I used to do long jump, and they were really pushing me to do things. So, use your talent. So I find like a lot of parents that we grew up with, especially our immigrant parents, they just wanted us to go to school, get your education, but
Yeah,
they weren't there as saying, hey, you excel in this. So that's one thing I do with my daughter, my wife and I. She's 24 now. So you're doing with that with your kids too, right? Encouragement and things like that, right?
with the go-karting and the that sort of thing, definitely. But in the winter we do art stuff, like art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about school? How are they in school?
They're doing great. They're doing okay. you know,
Yeah.
if the school is open, then they're going. That's all that matters, right? Like that.
Oh,
I'm just
wait. Wait. So when COVID happened, how did that affect you? Like having the kids home?
Oh, that was a mess. That was so my older son is really independent. He had his laptop, he did his work. But my little one,
Mhm.
like they were expecting him to do open spreadsheets and stuff. I'm like, the kid's 8 years old. Like, come on. So like he couldn't sit still for any of it. So I had my setup here and he was like right next to me because I didn't trust him. Like I turn around and he's on Roblox, or I turn around and he's playing Among Us, right? So I mean, so I had to really watch and I had to listen in on all the classes, which drove me bonkers because
Wow.
like at 9:30 in the morning, all the kids are like, "When's lunch?"
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, "Someone buy these kids a watch, please." So it was awful. So I
Mhm.
couldn't work. I couldn't. So I started the teacup series and I painted a teacup every day that he was in class and sat next to me because it was small and it was the only thing that I could focus on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our COVID. But thank goodness the go-kart track was open.
Oh, okay.
So everything
Perfect.
else shut down, but we were outside at the go-kart track all year long.
Yeah.
We
That's
didn't skip.
nice.
Yeah. They were painting. I was painting. They were
Doing their
racing.
thing.
It was phenomenal.
You just mentioned something there. So I just want you to just say anything you want about it. But I noticed something and in one post for sure. I was just gonna say teacups. So
Oh,
what does that mean to you? Because it means something to you because I'm seeing a lot of posts and beautiful imagery of teacups. So what does that mean to you?
my grandmother had teacups in the curio cabinet that I really loved. And I painted one because my mother had inherited my grandmother's teacups. So I painted a teacup for my mom.
Yeah.
And the response from that was unbelievable. Like all these stories of, this reminds me of my grandmother, this reminds me of my mother, this reminds me of tea time with this person. And every teacup that I paint seems to bring out a story from somebody.
Hmm.
So not only from me, but everyone else seems to have the same experience with these like little vintage teacups.
Yeah.
So it's kind of my happy place. I mean, the
Yeah.
plant I love, but the teacups, I kind of love those too. It's just like a happy little moment. The teacups.
Special meaning to you. I like that. Yeah. Um, if I say this painter's name, so if I say Bob Ross to you, what
Um,
what does that mean to you, Bob Ross?
um, Bob Ross was really phenomenal at inspiring people to paint, even if they felt like they couldn't paint.
Hmm. You know why I wanted to say that to you first before you
Yeah.
say anything else? Because I wanted
Why?
to show you this because my daughter, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah. So my daughter, she's talented in a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
And we knew she could draw. When she really pays attention, she can draw and take her time and draw something, right? But that's not
Yes.
her passion.
Yeah.
Her friend Victoria, who's a tattoo artist, she was my very first guest on Real Talk. She is a crazy artist. And one day my daughter got some Bob Ross kit, right? And I remember watching Bob Ross when I was younger on TV.
Yeah.
And then she painted this amazing picture just by following instructions, I guess, right? And I swear I seen a post on your thing where you painted Bob Ross. Was it Bob That you painted? It was
It's
so that
Lego Bob Ross.
yeah. So I always want to ask a painter what they think of Bob Ross, what he meant to them. Yeah.
You kind of have to be careful with Bob Ross's techniques because he had the cancer of the everything, and I'm pretty sure it was because of the materials that he was using and
Oh
the way
wow.
that he was using them.
Yeah.
Um, but I love the way he inspires people to just go for it. So some of my friends paint like in the sort of Bob Ross technique, and the way that Bob Ross paints is he paints from like the background, like working layers towards the front.
Okay.
Really, the way that you want to paint is you want to start with the front and work your way backwards. And
Okay.
that's the way that you create a more modern type of painting,
Hmm.
opposed to like the layers from the back. But anyway, that's technical stuff.
Yeah. Wait, so now that you even say that, have you ever thought of teaching? Have you taught or do you
I
thought of
have
okay.
during the COVID thing, I did some Zoom calls and some Zoom classes. I have I thought about that later on in life. Right now, I can't, like with the kids, it's just too much of a commitment for me to do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to set up like, European trips where we go and we just paint the landscape and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but right now, I'm just focused on me.
Yeah.
just, just do the thing.
It
Um,
makes sense. Okay, so you do commissioned work, and that really means do people contact you and they want you to paint paint different things like the pets. They want themselves or something, right? Like, how's that
Yeah.
going?
It's good. I love doing it. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Uh, because like when I choose something to paint, it's because I have a connection to it. And when I have a connection to it, it just turns out magical.
Mhm.
Whereas when you hand me like 6 or 7 pictures and you're like, put this all together, like it's more technical for me.
Yeah.
I put it all together. I feel like I'm like human Photoshop. Like I don't know how to work Photoshop, but I can, if you give me 6 or 7 drawing or photos, I can piece them all together and make a kind of cohesive piece. But it's not like sometimes the magic is missing because it's not something that I would have chosen to paint.
Hmm.
But it's a really great experience because there's so many times when I'll paint something for someone and they'll burst into tears once they get it. So it's really for me that feeling of like creating a moment that's in their head
Yeah.
that have not necessarily happened in real life.
Mhm.
That is really, really fulfilling for me.
Wow. I'm glad you said that because one of my questions, I interviewed a comedian. I actually interviewed him again yesterday, Eric Escobar, and I think I asked him if he ever had a moment where he touched someone's life. And he said that there was someone who had cancer in the audience and he really made them laugh. And it was special. I
Mhm.
interviewed a photographer just 2 episodes ago, Katrina Sutton. And I said, has there been anyone that when they saw their finished work, so photo, did they cry? So I had that question for you. Has that happened more than once? Because you just shared one,
Yeah,
but
it's all the time.
wow.
It's all the time. Yeah. I mean, usually I don't have people come to the house to pick stuff up. Usually it's either shipped or it's picked up. One time I had someone come to pick up the house and we were all of us crying on the front porch. Like it
Yeah.
was like for me to give them that moment, I don't know, I can't even explain the feeling.
Wow. That's amazing. So you emotional too then? Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
you can't hold it. You can't hold because I'm emotional, but you can't hold it back, eh? Yeah.
No, and I think that's you can probably see that with my posts too. Like I'm really pretty honest about things that happen or how I'm feeling about stuff.
Yeah, it's you that's what I like about I like Instagram the most. And when you mentioned Twitter, like I don't like Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. I like IG and you can really put the music towards something or post something you like, express yourself and then, share it with people. It's an amazing thing. And now
It's
that you're part of the Star Scorpio family, I will be posting your stuff on a regular because
um,
anything that inspires me, I like to inspire other people. So with painting though, I remember playing a game. I don't know if it was Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. There was a game back in the day. I think it was that. But what I
yeah.
want to ask you is, do you know the history of painting? So if I say Rembrandt, if I say Van Gogh, if I say Picasso, I think this game, I think it was Carmen Sandiego, where they had a painting and you can tell the difference between paintings because of the strokes or different styles. Do you know these artists I'm talking about, right? But
The
can you
style
tell the difference between the different styles of painters?
I can.
Yeah.
I'm really visual, so I have a really great visual memory, but like yeah, I can. But I mean, what really moves me the most are like paintings from the last 100 years, like Canadian artists, Group of Seven, like that stuff. Really, I love seeing their work. Their
Yeah.
plein air where they just like took cardboard out into the wilderness on a canoe and went and painted these phenomenal pieces.
Hmm.
Like like I have all the gear, like all the fancy gear, I can pretty much do anything. But they had nothing. They had a canoe and some oil paint, and like they made these incredible pieces. So that's really inspiring for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So right now though, are you in the studio? So do you have a studio? Do you paint at home too? This is the studio then,
Well, the studio is within my home
within
because
your home. Yeah.
yeah, because this way I've got the kids, like I'm here with for them when I take them to school, bring them back. I've got my time during the day here. I can make lunch.
Yeah, that's perfect. It works out. It works out perfect for you.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I want to ask you though, because I really like your story. But you know what? Before I ask that question, we were mentioning the area. So when you were young, where did you say you worked? Because we weren't recording
Oh,
at the time. Like we grew up from the same area, so I heard Parkway Mall. Like, let me know some of the things from back in the days.
okay. So I was the ice cream girl at Parkway Plaza. I don't know if you remember Sweet City. It was like a small little thing.
Mhm.
Um, and I sold beef patties at Cedar Bramall. So, so, so I had the full like Scarborough experience. So I mean, like nothing phases me now. Like I do things and people think I'm nuts, and I'm like, dude, like I'm from Scarborough. Like I can.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, Parkway Mall, that was like we were right across the street. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, our backyard is like, right there. Across the street, go to Parkway Mall when it was Dominion, now Metro.
yeah. So
And
the ice cream shop was across from Byway. Like it was in that little courtyard, the little area. So if you had ice cream there, it was from me.
so we probably bumped into each other or something. Had to. Was the
Probably.
library always there? They had the library there. Yeah, it's still there now. But they had a place where they sold the best snow cone. What was it called? Slush puppy. I
That
don't
was
know if
me.
you are you serious?
That was me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm tripping right now. I definitely probably saw you back in the day. This is crazy.
probably.
Wow. Okay. What wow. What I did want to ask you though is because sometimes I do this. I ask people because I like the way you started, right? And someone told you to go to Wexford and things. Do you have any advice for anyone that wants to give up on their dream or they're like, this is not getting me anywhere? Would you have any words of wisdom? Because it looks like the way you got into art is like an anomaly. Like, boom, you're at Wexford and you find out this is what you want to do, but then you're taking economics and then you realize, you know what I'm saying? So I want to know if you have any words of wisdom for anyone that's on the same path that you were on.
I tell my kids this all the time. Do what makes you happy.
Hmm.
Follow your heart and do what makes you happy. Like don't fight it. That's what I tell them.
The last thing that we're doing is, I give to charities after each episode,
Yeah.
and this podcast has been like very inspiring for me, and so I am happy to ask, who will I be donating to for season 5, episode 6?
I'm gonna go with Markham Stouffville Hospital.
Mm.
They have been phenomenal. I call them oh gosh. Oh, I call them Hotel Markham Stouffville
Yeah.
because I just every time I go there, I feel the hospitality. Like they have gone above and beyond, just really making sure that no stone was unturned. Um, really, really happy there. So that's where I want the money to go.
Okay. Star Scorpio will be donating to Markham Stouffville.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that I still have to do is the final question.
Oh,
By my hands, I'm going to
okay.
read out one of the questions. So do you want me to read the right one or the left one?
Let's go the right one.
This always happens after I hear a story, and then I just wonder if you're going to say this. Okay. Name one challenging thing you had to overcome in life.
Oh, every day is a challenge. Every day is. Oh gosh. What's the other question?
What's Oh, wait a minute. This is the first time someone's ever asked me that. This is going in the teaser. This is going in the teaser. You know what, though? I feel like what you just told me, that story is probably one of the most challenging things. But if
That
there's
was
another one,
because that was like external challenges that kind of where everything just hit me in the face like within a week. Like it was just like one thing after the other.
yeah.
But out of that came the epiphany. Like it was like the phoenix rising from the ashes. Like that's how it felt in that moment. And sometimes you need that pressure, like the diamond, like the charcoal needs that pressure to become a diamond. Like sometimes you need that to push you in a different direction. I think the biggest challenge is myself
Mhm.
because I'm never satisfied. And I always feel like I need to learn more. I need to do more. I need to create more. I need to, because in my head, like my painting is here, but in my head, I'm always here. And
Yeah.
no matter what I do, I will never get there because every time I improve, every time I have like a breakthrough moment, the other goal gets pushed even further. So I think that's my greatest challenge, but that's what drives me. That's what pushes me to like, keep going, do more and learn more and share more.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it. It's me. I'm the challenge.
Amazing. First one, there's a first for everything on this podcast. Amazing. So, Linda, let the people know where they can find you.
Well, I am the Painting Greek. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it's all the same. I have a website, thepaintinggreek.ca. You can probably find me in a field painting somewhere. That's usually where I am. Or in my car painting somewhere. If you do see me, come say hi. But yeah, that's usually where I am.
Amazing. All right. This is season 5, episode 6 with Linda the Painting Greek. Amazing episode. Real Talk with Star Scorpio, and we out.
Thank you.